Hey everyone, just a little disclaimer for Poop Month. If it wasn't already clear, we will be discussing poops and farts in depth throughout this month. So you have been warned. Also throughout this month, we will be referring to poop as stool or feces. These terms will be used interchangeably. It basically means the same thing. Oh, and one last disclaimer pertaining to mildly explicit language, we will also be calling it shit. Thank you.
Hey, we are the Lab Doctors. I'm Amanda.
I'm Dorothy.
And I'm Zhao Yong.
We are biomedical researchers who realized we still have a lot to learn about science.
So why not join us on this quest?
On this episode of Today We Learn, we will be talking about weird animal poop. Or are they really weird or just natural? In case you forgot, Today We Learn episodes are the ones where we figure out questions based on our existing knowledge. But stay tuned for part 2 where we regroup after researching and tell you what we have learned.
Okay, so I'm very, very excited for this episode. I don't know if you are, because today's episode on animal poop is like one of the topics that we actually talked about during one of our lunch breaks like last year. And this is like one of the topics that sparked off like why we really want to do a podcast.
Yeah, origin stories.
Yep.
So the question that really started it off was, why are rabbit poops round?
Yeah.
Do people know this?
I think people that have rabbits probably know, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And so sheep also have round poop, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I feel like they are related to each other. I have no idea why is it so nicely round, like bubble tea pearls.
I feel like they kind of do look like bubble tea pearls. I'm sorry if people can no longer drink bubble tea after this.
Oh my goodness. I always thought it was the intestines, but I was thinking, but all our intestines are tubes, so why aren't our poops fully circular, spherical? So that's where I stopped my theories.
I don't know. I think for all these herbivores, I feel like it's diet. So, because they have a lot of fiber in their diet, and because, do you know rabbits consume their own poop?
Huh? Oh, well, I guess a lot of animals do that also.
Yeah, but rabbits in particular have to do it to absorb all the nutrients because it goes through digestion once and then it digests it again.
Wait, so just remind me, they consume all their poops or the round one poops only? Can they differentiate?
I have no idea.
Huh? Not all of them are round? I thought they're all round.
No, as in, is it all compact or the same color?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Is there a difference?
I think they're all the same looking at.
And for all we know, there might be this rabbit gut microbiome where they're like, oh, your shit tastes great. I'm gonna eat your shit. I don't know.
Or maybe they like sniff this particular round one. It's like, oh, this one seems a bit more undigested. I think I have to eat it again.
So firm,
to
so
digest
nice.
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Can they tell the difference between undigested poop and fully digested poop, you know?
For all you know, they might.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like animals have a heightened sense of smell.
Maybe they can hear the differences in their poop because, you know, the years.
Eat me!
No, as in when it drops out.
Yeah, like the density. They like hear the differences in their bowel movements. They're like, this is the one. This is the cream of the cream.
Wait, so before we go off on a tangent, so you were talking about their diet and herbivores having a lot of fiber. So is it because of compacting the poop?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's why sheep also have, you know, relatively spherical poop, you know? I'm not sure about cows. I think cows aren't. I feel like cows.
That cow dung is very...
cow dung, that's how we do the drawing.
It's a
like
pile,
ice cream,
right?
one.
Yeah. So maybe diet isn't exactly it. Maybe it's more of digestive system, like the intestine.
Yeah. Like, is their rectum like
Pinching it off.
round? Yeah, okay. One idea I have, which I think is very wrong, is like as they shit, they cut it off.
Yeah,
Cut it
it's
off.
like-
You know, it's like how you cut fish ball or like bubble tea pearls.
Yes.
But I think it's not. Because like even if you cut it off, it won't be so perfectly round. Or you never know what kind of sphincter muscle they have.
Like maybe they are very
like perfectly spin. Yeah. Oh my, we're doing the same.
We're all doing a lot of hand motions, but we don't know
crunches
what.
off very slowly and nicely each time, you know?
Or maybe there's like a machine inside that makes it round.
Like it squishes it like the
Boom,
butt.
like the rectum, like there's the muscle
Like ice cream scoops. They have ice cream scoops.
ice cream scoop. We are way too off tangent. So let's go on to the next one. If it's ice cream scoops,
The even weirder one.
yes, weirder ones.
Yes.
If ice cream scoops can explain round poops, then how do we explain square poops from wombats?
Ice
Like
cube
cubes.
trays. Ice cube tray.
Ice cube trays! Imagine it's like the end of the rectum has the ice cube tray, and then it's like the shit goes there and get compressed inside. And it's like pop, pop, pop. Okay.
Shifts it up.
Then it becomes upside down and it all drops out, and then you get shit. It's completely not science anymore.
I feel like we aren't even trying this episode. It's like it doesn't make sense.
No, but it doesn't make sense. How would it be square? Because if all the intestines are tubes,
Yeah.
where are the right angles coming? Okay, not square, so they are cubes,
Cubes,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Right? So where is the right angles coming from?
So the wombat's intestine is just right angle lah. It's a rectangle.
Maybe that.
And then it cuts off and it cuts off and it cuts off.
Because you know wombats are marsupials. They're in Australia. Australia is the land of
Yeah.
terrifying animals. Maybe wombats just have terrifying square intestines and like square butts.
Yeah,
Just-
if you
So much easier to draw though. I mean, anatomically, you'd just be drawing lines, right?
just square.
I mean, it would be so much easier.
I have no idea, man. Because if like you don't already know how wombat poop looks like, you can just do a Google search.
Yeah.
It's very cute, and they stack the poop up to make. I don't know what they're making, sculptures, or they're making a house. Are they making an igloo?
Oh,
I
like
don't
they
know.
actually use it for a resource, is it?
Actually, I'm not very sure, but like the image I have in mind that I googled before is that it's stacked up. So I don't know if they stacked it up or
Some
some
human
human stacked it up for a photo. I don't know.
Like, what's this square pebble? This is perfectly
Oh my
square.
goodness, toddlers! The parents would be like, "Oh, cute toys."
Oh my god!
Let's let the
toy
toddler
blocks.
play with it. Yeah, because it's toy blocks, right? Basically.
I don't know. Okay, but what I do know about wombats is that they have a very hard ass.
Like you mean the butt or like the anus hole?
No, like right on top of the butt, so the butt cheeks, so that when it burrows and maybe some predator that tries to chase it into a hole, it can slam its butt against the ceiling of the hole, and apparently there's enough force to break bones.
Oh, so then they can hide themselves.
Yeah. So, when predators try to attack that part, because, when you go into a hole, the part that's
Oh, it's
exposed
like
is your
boom, then
butt.
it bounce off.
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe that's the hard surface that creates an angle, as the thing passes through the butt, then it creates an angle. I don't know. Maybe. But that's what I know.
Or maybe the
about
butt cheek is like it's like a hammer.
Yeah.
So after they shit, then they mold it. It's like boom, boom. They just sit on the shit and then it becomes a square.
Oh, so you mean like post-shitting modification? They poop it out and then they modify
I have
it.
no
with
idea.
the-
Maybe it brings them joy.
Maybe. Who knows?
Oh, do you think there's a YouTube video, those like National Geographic shows
Yeah,
where they
yeah.
follow wombats around?
Oh, I really hope there is one. Then we'll post a link.
That would be so interesting if it really essentially plays with its poop for a purpose.
So speaking about animals that play with poop,
Yes.
the dung beetle.
Yes. So it's not its own poop, right? It plays with other animals' poop. Am I right?
Oh yes, for a moment I was mind blown because the dung that the beetle plays with is super huge. It's like
It's another animal's poop.
3 times, I don't know, a few times bigger than itself.
Yeah, way bigger.
Is it from the cow?
Oh, but I don't think it's cow, right? Because it's it's not as liquidy. I don't know, as
It's
cow
very
dung
round.
is kind
Oh
of
yeah.
Wait, where do dung beetles exist? I thought it was a more Saharan desert kind of.
Yeah, I think it's drier weather.
Oh, camels. It will make sense because camels, you wouldn't excrete as much water, right? So their poop would be, camel poop should be blue camel's poop.
I think so. I think the bigger animals poop.
As in their poops would be dry, right?
Probably,
because
yeah.
you need to conserve
Yeah.
as much water as possible.
Wait, I don't know if it's a desert or is it savanna. So like, lions, rhinos, that kind of general environment, which is still dry. But okay, what I think we are clear of is the dung beetles are actually playing with other animals' poop.
Okay, so why?
Yeah.
Why?
To build a house? I don't
Do
know.
they poop?
Oh,
Do
no,
dung
it's
beetles
for
poop?
mating. It's for
Yeah,
mating.
it's for mating.
Right.
Like the bigger the ball, the more strong the insect is it? I think
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
They make the prettiest things out of the shittiest things.
yeah.
I know they just roll it around, like push it around,
Yeah.
making it round.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
But I don't know. It's just very interesting why they would want to do that. Is it because they lay eggs in the poop? Is that what happens?
Oh,
Because why?
possibly.
Like, why would it be part of a mating ritual? Then after that, they just throw it away, or do they mate in the?
Is it
Or
for a
maybe
house? Oh, ew.
or maybe like evolutionarily, some animal has to deal with poop,
And they're like,
and the dung beetles were made for it. They help to clean up the mess of the earth.
yeah, just like what's that? Suckerfish, right? And shrimp. Like they are filter feeders.
Yeah.
Oh,
They-
yeah. Filter
They
feeders.
feed on all the waste in the ocean.
I have no idea. It's quite interesting, like what they do with the dung that they make after mating, I suppose.
Oh,
It's quite cute.
yeah, but I guess we can figure it out.
Yeah.
If it's not
definitely.
abundantly clear, we are biologists, but not animal biologists. Yeah.
Theorizing
I
about.
stray in the intestine. So for dung beetles, we know like that they play with people's not people.
Actually, maybe
play with
people.
other
Who
animals'
knows?
poop.
Who knows what?
Oh,
Do you know?
do you think someone caught a dung beetle before and like gave it their own poop and then like
Oh, I wouldn't be
play
surprised.
with it, make it round?
I wouldn't be surprised.
So I don't know if they just play with poop and whether they poop,
Themselves, right?
they themselves poop
Yeah.
dung beetles, and whether other animals poop. So for example, like do ants poop? Those smaller insects, do they poop?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've never seen ant poop. Is that no? But
But is it because it's too small?
no. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, is what ant hills and what they're made out of? Is that ant poop? Because like bees
No, it's mud.
and honey.
No, that's just sand,
like,
right?
That's poop, right? It's poop. Or it mixes with
No,
their.
it's
I can't remember.
Honey?
Yeah, honey.
Honey?
Yeah, I'm not.
Don't like that. I drink honey every day.
I think.
it's not poop per se. It's excretion.
It's not poop.
It's not even secreted. It's
Yeah, yeah.
excretions, but it's not their
Yeah,
poop.
yeah.
Do bees poop? There's too many questions. Okay, let's go back to ants.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I feel like they do. I said excrete. So that's the thing. So like birds. So when birds poop, it is usually with their pee as well because it's uric acid and it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
all together. So it's very efficient.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's why it's very.
Liquidy. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's birds. But I don't know about insects.
Yeah.
Some insects poop, right? Because sometimes you find those little poops.
Are those poops?
in
Or
your-
is it lizard?
Those
is it
are like lizard
poops?
shit.
Are they lizard poops?
But like
right.
cockroaches,
Do cockroaches poop?
No,
they're like
no.
so dirty already, they're still gonna shit more.
No, but okay, but honestly speaking, if there is an input, meaning they eat, then there must be an output, right?
True,
Or are they so
true.
efficient
For
that
sure,
they
for
use
sure.
everything?
Oh, maybe because they're so small and active.
I don't know, yeah, right? Unless they're really...
So they sweat it all out. Do they sweat?
No, wait. Aren't humans the
No,
only
but
animals
maybe
that sweat?
not
Huh?
sure.
I think
Okay,
humans
no,
are the
no,
only,
so-
only mammals that sweat.
And I think insects, they do something through their shell also, like the... I don't know what
you
you
mean
call
like
it.
they
Yeah,
shed?
they don't have bone, they don't have
Exoskeleton?
skeleton, they have the exoskeleton.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think something might pass through that layer for expelling all these whatever waste products.
Yeah, as in that's what I was thinking because insects are too small and they don't have lungs, so they exchange gas through the pores in their body.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the excretions through carbon dioxide, meaning they break down, because when you break down, glucose and everything, ultimately you give out carbon dioxide, right? So
They just breathe
yeah,
everything
it's
out.
excretions through carbon dioxide all they require.
So they don't
No
poop.
idea, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Seems
But
like they
basically,
don't.
what do y'all think? Do
I
ants
feel like
poop?
they do. I don't think any animal system is so optimized that they can get rid of everything that they take in, basically.
Maybe ant poop is what makes the dust in the world.
Yeah. Wait,
It's like, how do you get endless amount of dust everywhere?
have you thought about what soil is? What is soil, Dorothy?
I don't know how to define it. Like,
Yeah, what is soil? What is it made out
Basically,
of?
soil is
shit, animal
everyone's
shit.
poop.
It is just excretion and dead animals or dead plants.
So
if you
much.
think about it.
So much.
Or did anything, basically,
Yeah.
right?
Anything that breaks down, anything that degrades and dies, forms
Yeah.
Then
the earth.
decomposes and. Why?
I don't know.
Stop making me think about these things.
No lah, I think sand itself still exists lah, but it's definitely mixed with a whole lot of animal remains
Yep. Plant remains.
feces.
Yep.
Whatever you can find. So I think we have talked a lot. We've gone off tangent a little bit. But basically for today's animal poop episode, we're going to search on why rabbit poops are round, and then why are wombat poops square and how. And also what do dung beetles do with the dung that they play with or whatever they use it for. And whether other animals like ants poop. Stay tuned.
Okay, welcome back to part 2 of animal poops. So we'll just get right into it. So the first question was, why are rabbit poops round?
Okay, before I go into that, let me just talk about rabbits eating their poop. So apparently they do eat some of what comes out from their anus, but it's completely different from poop.
Huh?
So the normal waste product is known as hard feces, and those are the ones that look like the bubble tea pearls. And then the ones that they ingest again are known as cecotrophs. Cecotrophs, Caecotrophs. These are the soft feces that should appear smaller, wetter, and maybe clump together like a bunch of grapes. So we're spoiling a lot of food
I
here.
hate how it's all food analogies, but okay.
Yeah, trust me, when I was Googling like the pictures, it was like, this is disturbing how it looks like a bunch of grapes. Anyway, so the soft feces are actually very nutritious food pellets made in the cecum and should not be expelled at the same time as the normal hard feces. So if you actually want to find out more about how the normal poop is made versus the cecotrophs, there is a simple video that you can watch, and we'll put the link in the video description on YouTube. So, on to how the poops actually become round. Guess what? We're actually not too far off when we said that the anus contracts and clip off the poop to form circular poop. We're not too far off. So the mechanism is quite complex, but I'll try my best to simplify it and explain it as accurately as possible. Now, the rabbit's colon is already quite narrow, so I guess when there's any clipping effect, it would cause like it to be very segregated or like easier to be split.
Okay.
So the colon, did I say colon? Colon is split into the proximal or the nearer colon.
Yeah.
And then it will also have the distal or the further colon, and they are separated by this thing called the fusus coli. So the fusus coli is a structure that has a lot of nerves and responds to hormones and controls the contraction of the proximal and distal colons, and can also absorb a lot of water. So for hard feces formation, there is more contraction in the proximal colon and the fusus coli than the distal ones. So these contractions clip off the fecal matter into pellets, which also become more dry and hard as it passes through the fusus coli, which will absorb a lot of water.
Oh, so it happens in the colon and not directly at the rectum.
Yeah, correct. But to a certain extent, it's correct because there's the muscle that's clipping off something.
Right, yeah.
And then not much contraction occurs in the distal colon, so then the feces that passes through it don't really change shape, and so it will come out as the circular round poops. Whereas for the soft feces, which is the one that they will eat back, the opposite happens. So there's less contraction in the proximal colon.
Right.
So the matter that passes through this region will appear larger. Then after that, there's gentler contractions of the fusus coli that separate these matter into smaller pellets and also coat them with a lot of mucus. And then the rapid contraction of the distal colon will help form the smaller and stickier cecotrophs.
Right. So it's like, how do the rabbits know, like when to make one type of poop, when to make the other type?
Oh yeah, so yes, it's actually like some natural process, and I won't go into detail, so you can actually look at the YouTube video that explains it. But basically, like during feeding, then after like eating, they would poop out the normal poop, which is waste material.
Right.
But then later on, maybe during their rest time or something, there is some motion that happens in the cecum that will help to form the cecotrophs, and then they will be usually pooped out during rest periods or something.
So it's like the poop after lunch, don't eat.
Yeah,
but the poop
during rest time.
eat.
Yeah, something like that. And they look and smell different. In fact, the ones that they eat again are extremely smelly, apparently.
So they eat the smelly poop.
Yeah, they eat the smelly one.
Oh, man.
But apparently it's very nutritious because it goes through like the cecum, which would add in there's a lot of bacteria and stuff that will help to make it very nutritious for the rabbits.
Right.
So it's essential for their diet as well.
It's kind of cute, if you ask me. I don't know. I think it's kind of cute.
I just think it's disturbing that it still comes out from the same place.
True that.
Like
True
if
that.
they
Okay,
never
true that.
shit
Yes.
properly, then later there's like remnants of the shit that they eat.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now that we know the rabbit's colon is narrow and the contraction helps to clip and form the round pellets, please don't tell me that wombats actually have square colons.
Oh, so we weren't the only ones who thought of the square butt theory.
Okay.
So the lead researcher of this paper that was published actually, she was doing an interview and she said that was one of their initial theories, but unfortunately it is wrong.
Oh.
Okay, so actually wombats are the only animals in the world to produce cube-shaped poop. And before they actually looked at the intestine of the wombats, scientists theorized that wombat poop cube so that they can stack them up to mark their territory, and if it was round it would roll away. But then with more studies, scientists actually suggest that the cubic shapes are actually likely due to two factors. So the first is the dry environment that wombats inhabit.
Okay.
So like we said in part 1, desert animals such as camels, their poop is actually also very dry.
Yeah.
Because they squeeze every drop of moisture out of their food before excretion. So you want to retain as much water as possible.
Yeah.
So being dry actually helps the scats or poops to form more rigid shapes with sharper angles.
Oh.
So how come camels don't poop square, right?
Yeah.
So in addition to the dry environments, wombats also have an interesting digestive tract. So it's not that they have a square colon and intestine. So Patricia Young, a researcher at the Georgia Institute of Technology, actually led the group of scientists that dissected a wombat, specifically the bare-nosed wombat, to examine its intestines. So I think it's also important to mention that they did not sacrifice a wombat for the sake of this autopsy, but unfortunately it died after being hit by a car. So it was roadkill. So they actually opened the wombat and looked at its intestine. So as food is digested in the gut, the pressure from the intestine actually helps sculpt the feces, which means the shape of the intestine will affect the shape of their poop, which is like is what Dorothy said with rabbits, right?
Yeah.
So these researchers found that the wombat intestine actually contained two ravine-like grooves. So ravine is like smaller valleys, so not as deep as a valley.
Okay.
And also stretchier intestines. So why is this important? So you remember how we were talking about intestines being a tube? So
Yeah.
in most mammals, the food moves through in a wave-like peristalsis with uniform pressure from all angles.
Okay.
So if you imagine that there's pressure from all angles, you can think of it as a ball that is slightly larger than the diameter of the tube moving through and stretching the tube as it passes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like the ball is moving through the tube, but because there's uniform pressure from everywhere, it's a ball, basically.
Yeah, it remains spherical. Yeah.
So back to wombats, they actually have stiffer portions of the intestines which contract faster and softer regions which squeeze slowly. And this is due to different muscle tissue at the different regions. So this non-uniform stiffness along the circumference of the wombat intestine is what makes the cube form. So basically the softer regions contract slowly, right?
Right.
And that's what is thought to mold the corners of the poop. And this, along with that grooved tissue, shape the firm, flat-sided cubes. So that's how wombats poop, like cubes.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
It's like, how did it even start? Like,
yeah, so
Why
Why
did
did
they
it
that's
even
the thing.
start?
That's what scientists are perplexed by. So why did they evolve to poop cubes? But yeah, no, there's no theories about that yet.
Yeah, but it
Right.
might just be one of those things, you know, because it works and then it doesn't
Effect.
have a disadvantage,
Yeah.
so it remains.
special.
Yeah.
Oh, they did say that if they're in a zoo or something, I can't remember, but basically if the poops are more round, it actually is less healthy. It means the wombat is less healthy.
Yeah, probably
makes
right.
sense.
Yeah, so the cube may be better for the wombats, but yeah, not sure why they actually evolved it in the first place.
It's so cute though.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, based on one of the theories that wombats poop cube to mark their territory, maybe we can move on to dung beetles, which actually do mark their territories this way, I assume, right?
Do they?
I don't know.
I have no idea. Anyway. So I think we talked about where dung beetles actually exist, and so I looked it up. They actually live in many different habitats. They exist on essentially all continents except Antarctica, but most animals don't exist in Antarctica.
Yeah.
So dung beetles, they live in the deserts, grasslands, savannas, farmlands, and native and planted forests. So what do they actually do with the poop, right?
Yeah.
So there are two main purposes. The first one is for food.
Food?
Yeah, actually, the dung beetles' nutrients largely consist of just the poop. And they can survive just on that.
Ew.
But the other thing is to make a brooding ball, which was also what we said. It's like
Yeah.
it lays eggs in the poop.
Because it's warm, I guess.
So not only that, it's also like a form of protection and also a form of sustenance for the larva.
Oh my
I
goodness.
guess it's a
larvae.
very good protection. Because no one would want to go near the poop.
Yeah. Unless, you're studying ancient poop, I guess.
Yeah.
So some species of dung beetles are actually quite romantic, I have to say. I feel like it's quite romantic. It's kind of
More
cute.
romantic than you.
Oh, for sure. It's honestly quite cute where the two beetles, the male and the female, would either roll the ball together or typically the male rolls the ball and then the female just hitchhikes. So
Okay.
until they find a site where it is relatively safe and there's this soft soil where they can hide the ball or like store the ball, then they would mate underground. And after mating, the female would lay the eggs in the
Poop
dung ball, and then that would be the sustenance for the larvae when they hatch. So it's actually kind of cute and sweet that
Wow.
they roll the dung together, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, we're making a house for our babies or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's quite
It's a
cute.
game. It's so
Yeah.
cute. So then the last question we have was, do all animals poop?
So basically, yeah, what we said was true. All animals do poop as long as there's an intake, there usually would be an output. So for insects, well, they have poop, but it's not poop. It's called frass, like F-R-A-S-S. I hope I'm spelling it correctly. It's
Okay.
like S with F-R in front of it, frass.
That's what I see.
Yeah, either that or it's frass. I don't know, British
Rhymes
American.
with grass.
Frass.
Oh, like grass.
Oh,
yeah,
like grass.
maybe.
Yeah. And so their poop typically looks like tiny pellets that apparently might look like dust. So larger insects would also produce larger poop because they consume more.
Okay.
So wood-boring insects like termites, they actually poop out stuff that are essentially similar to sawdust because what they consume is sawdust.
Oh my goodness.
And then cockroaches,
Ew.
they poop out things that look like ordinary household dust.
What?
So essentially when you're sweeping your house or vacuuming your house,
Yeah. I would never know when I'm sleeping in cockroach poop.
yeah, you don't know when you're sweeping cockroach poop or actual dust.
Don't
So,
tell me
and
this.
the other thing is also cockroach poop apparently can be quite dangerous because it's actually an allergen.
for sure.
So
House
like
dust
house
mite.
dust mites. Yeah, cockroach poop is also an allergen. Yeah. So certain insects don't poop, but that's only in certain stages of their life. So stuff like mayflies and silk moths, where their adult lifespan is typically only for reproduction and they don't consume, and that's why they don't poop.
Oh.
Yeah. But they still do poop in their younger larva stage,
see.
larva, whatever stage where they consume. And then there are also certain insects that eat and store the poop and then poop later in life. And I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. I wish I can do
It's
that.
constipation in humans.
Yeah, no, but it's because anatomically they are unable to do so. So they have a very one-way digestive system. So they actually consume and then they store the poop at the back of their gut. And then
Yeah.
after they metamorphosize, they would have the anatomy to actually release all the poop.
Oh, that saves so much time though. You only poop once
Yeah,
for your
exactly. That's why I'm
entire
like-
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Efficiency.
So I think another thing in particular that we looked at was ants, and we were wondering if ants pooped. So ants are kind of cool. In their nests, they have specific caverns to poop.
Oh, like toilets.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. But scientists believe that there is actually this purpose to ant poop, and there must be a reason why they store it, because carcasses of other ants, like dead ants or food remains, actually get thrown outside the nest, whereas poop has this special
Whoa.
chamber in the nest for storage, So they believe that there is a purpose for it, but they still haven't exactly figured out what it's for. But yeah, ants have toilets, and I'm just, wow, that's amazing. And then the last thing on insects that we have with poop is bees, because we were saying whether or not
Whether honey.
like honey is poop. So apparently it is not poop.
Yes,
It is
not
puke.
poop. Oh my
It's puke.
gosh.
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. I've heard of this. It's their puke. They regurgitate it out, right?
Puke.
Yes. But bee enthusiasts insist that this isn't actually puke because there's a separate organ. So how their digestive tract works is that there's this the mouth, right? And then there's this first organ where it actually stores nectar, and then it secretes enzymes into that storage place to convert it into honey, and then they'll spit it out when they go back into the hive, and that is before their supposed
Actual
stomach.
stomach.
So
Okay.
it actually doesn't go into their stomach, and they say that's why it's not technically vomit,
Fair enough.
but it still goes into the mouth. That's my point. Like anything that
Yeah, I
goes
guess
into
it's
the mouth
like the
and come out.
rabbit, like
Is
it
it
comes out from
spit?
the anus.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you call it what you want. I still think it's poop. I mean, not poop, puke. Yeah, so honey isn't poop, but it's puke.
Nice.
Cultured puke.
Well,
This doesn't sound nice. It's nutritious. Just eat it. It's fine.
yeah.
So just for the listeners, when we were actually like dividing these questions, I was super squeamish. I kept saying, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. And I'm so thankful that Zhao Rong stepped up and he was saying, oh yeah, he can do all of the last part, like all the questions.
Yeah,
and
man.
I'm so glad I didn't have to Google all of
I
it.
don't know. I find it nice that there are like so many small cute things about what animals do with poop. You know, obviously they believe that poop is more than just waste, you know, compared to humans where we are like, poop is poop.
Flush
and
it down.
You know, take it far away.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Poop transplant therapy. It might not be the waste after all. Teaser.
So we hope you enjoyed the first episode of Poop Mode. And as usual, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify. A like and a comment would really help us a lot.
You can also follow us on our social media, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Feel free to DM us any questions.
Alternatively, you can email us at thelabdoctors@gmail.com. You should check out the episode description for links to everything that we've talked about. And if you like this podcast, please share it with your friends and family. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Poop Mode.